Hi, this is Hunter from Fulton Music Lessons, and today we're going to learn how to change the strings on your guitar. Okay, so we'll start on the end with the tuning pegs, and I'm going to start with my 6th string, or the E string, and basically you're going to want to just turn the peg so that it loosens the string, and an easy way to know if you're doing that is to pluck the string and then turn the peg. So that's loosening it, and do it until you can basically unravel the string from the peg. And you'll have to go pretty low to do that. Okay, now once I've loosened it enough, I should be able to just kind of slide the string out of the peg. And now you have to do that for the rest of the strings as well. And one of these tools is really helpful for tuning. It just helps you to unwind the strings a lot faster. And you can pick it up at any music store. And you just kind of slide it onto the peg there. And just give it a spin, and it's much faster. All right, once you've got all of your strings off, and they're only attached now by the bridge, I'm going to show you how to get these bridge pegs out of the acoustic guitar. And you might have a different version of the bridge where the strings actually slide in through the bottom, but I can kind of show you how that would work here as well. An easy way to get the tuning pegs out of the bridge is with a pair of needle nose pliers, or you could use a knife or something to just kind of pop them out. And that's pretty much what you do. You just kind of pull them out of the bridge, and then the string itself will just kind of pull right out. And with the other kind of bridge, you would just slide the strings out of the bottom, and then when it's time to change the string, you would just slide it back in through the top all the way to the tuning pegs. So with the other kind of bridge, you wouldn't actually have any of these pegs. The string would actually just slide in right through the bottom, and you would be seeing the little colors on the bottom of the string too. Now that you have all of the strings off of the guitar, it's a good idea to go around and clean everything with a cloth, just kind of along your fretboard and along the body of the guitar as well. Okay, now we're going back to the bridge and we're going to put the new strings in. I like to use light gauge strings, and I would recommend using those, especially if you're a new player. It just makes them a little easier to play, and you don't have to change them as often. And on most packs of strings, probably all of them, you'll find a little legend on the side that tells you which color on this end of the string goes with the number of the string as well, so it makes it nice and easy for you to follow along. Okay, so I'm going to start with strings 3 and 4, and according to my legend, the green is string 3, so I'm just going to kind of walk up from 1, 2, 3, and that's where it would go in there, and then string 4 would go above it there. Then I'm going to grab a couple tuning pegs, and just slide them right in with the strings. Once you have all of your new strings on, we're going to move back up to the head of the guitar to figure out how they go back into the tuning pegs. And remember, with your old strings, save them because you can recycle them and they can be reused. Now we need to get the strings back into the tuning pegs. And I'm going to start with string number 1 just to make things easy for myself. And I'll show you a little trick that makes it a lot easier to get these strings into the pegs a bit easier. So when you pull it up, you kind of just pull it over like this, and so that the string bends. I'll give you a little close-up of that. All right, so you're gonna wanna grab the string and pull it nice and tight. With this one, I'm using string number 2, so I'm gonna wanna wrap it around peg number 2 and pull just enough so that it gives it this little kink in the string, and that'll make it a lot easier to slide into the tuning peg. Now that I have that kink in string number 1, I can just line it up with the opening of the tuning peg and put it right through, and just make sure that when you're doing that, that none of the other strings are going to get trapped underneath the string when you're about to tighten it. Now that the string has slid into the peg, there's one more thing you need to do, and that is just line up the string with this little nook right here. And then when you start tightening it, you want to make sure that it's staying in there as well, not sliding into any of those other slits. And then when you're ready, just start turning the string, and you'll see it kind of wrapping around, and you'll know that it's tightening as well. And once it gets tight enough, you can pluck it just to double check. And before we get them all on and all in tune, let's just make sure we've got all of the strings wrapped in their tuning pegs and they're ready to be tuned. Now you may notice when you're tightening the strings that the pegs down on the bridge will pop up, and that's okay. That's just because they're getting tighter and there's more pressure on them and they're popping up. So all you have to do is just push them back down, and that'll just fix it right there. So make sure that your bridge pegs are all flat once the strings are in as well, and that none of them are sticking out. Now that all the strings are in, we've got this kind of long hair on the guitar here, and now we're gonna just cut them off with this little tool that we have, or you can use a pair of pliers or anything that kind of can get in there and snip a little wire. And if you're wondering how much string that you should actually leave on the peg, I'd say about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters is okay. Just don't cut it too short, or else you run the risk of it actually popping out while you're tuning the guitar, which is what we're going to do now. Now that you have your strings cut off, just remember that you can save these and recycle them as well. Alright, so that is how you change the strings on your guitar. So now it's time to tune, and if you need some help with that, you can check out my other video on how to tune your guitar using a phone app or an actual headstock tuner. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions on how to change your strings, please leave a comment below.